Hello. So, welcome to our next lecture on cloud computing. Today, we will continue some of our discussion on cloud architecture and especially see some aspects of cloud architecture means cloud, like one of the aspects is virtualization, right. So, as if we look at, remember that earlier lectures we are discussing on different type of service models, and also we have different type of deployment models in cloud, namely public, private, hybrid and community cloud. Different aspects and all sort of services can be hosted in different type of deployment models, right. So, in case of a public cloud, as the name suggests, it is available for public at large. So, it is anyone can purchase that, and it is somewhat omnipresent across the internet, right. Some of the very popular examples are Google App Engine, Microsoft Azure, IBM Cloud, Amazon EC2 and many others, right. Many others clouds are there, right. So, what happened that we have this public cloud, and enterprise or individual can subscribe this public cloud, right. Subscribe this public cloud over the internet and can have that its services over this. So, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for open use by general public, organization, enterprises and anyone who can pay and use the things. There are definitely some legal policy issues which need to be conformed to. So, it may be owned, managed and operated by a business, academics, government organization or some combination of them, right. It exists in the premise of the cloud provider. So, typically physically the public cloud is at the CSP's premise or premises, right. So, that means whatever the computing infrastructure, storage infrastructure and other type of things are there, those are residing in the CSP's or the cloud providers premises, not at the private or not at the users premises. So, that is one aspects of the thing. And in public setting, providers computing and storage resources are potentially large, right. So, it is serving to all. Communication links can be assumed to be implemented over public internet services, and the cloud service serves a diverse pool of kind, and maybe out of them, though not all faithful clients, there can be some attackers, hackers, etc., etc. So, it is open to anybody who can subscribe. It typically can have a service provider, and you can there can be different type of users at the things, right. So, what are the typical features? Workload locations are hidden from the cloud, one of the clients, that is one of the major thing. Like you do not know where your virtual machine is, you do not know where you actually the data is residing, which server, which location and with whom it is residing. So, it is all are hidden. So, as far as if you are not very stringent on the legal and policy matter about the security and other aspects, though it is fine that you do not care so long your services are there. There are risk from multi-tenancy, that means your logically or it may be theoretically always possible that your computing, your storage, where it is residing, somebody else's things are there. Now, if it is your somebody with some organization or some person who is not very faithful or who are not very comfortable, so that two things, two different user can reside, can work on the same things. So, in other sense, there is a risk, there is this what we say multi-tenancy, and there are risk of multi-tenancy, because I do not know that where things are there, whether there is a underlying channel to access my data, services and other type of things. So, there is a risk of multi-tenancy. So, single machine can be shared by workloads by any combination of subscriber. Subscriber workload may be co-resident with the workload of the competitor or adversaries, right. So, it introduces both reliability and security risk. So, organizations considering use of on-site public cloud should consider network dependency, right. So, whenever suppose IIT Kharagpur thinks that all is or some of his labs will be running on public cloud, so that our overall maintaining etc., reduces, cost of maintenance or overall load on maintenance etcetera reduces. Now, the one first dependency is the network. So, it will be always available, the network connectivity should be always available up to a mark. So, that is one dependency. There are limited visibility and control over the data regarding the security. So, I have, as we are mentioning, that I have limited visibility of the data. I do not know where the data is and how it is secured. Only thing what I have is a some sort of a SLA or some sort of a MOU between the provider and me, that this data is secured and so forth. So, there is a issue of elasticity or illusion of unlimited resource availability, right. So, this is when we use public cloud, this is pretty fine, because theoretically I have infinite amount of elasticity, like if I need more computing power, it will be provisioned. If I want more other storage things, it will be provisioned. When I do not require, I releases it or deprovision it. So, those things are feasible. So, theoretically infinite scaling up, scaling down is possible. Another important thing is the low upfront cost to mitigate migrate into the cloud, right. So, if you want to make a private cloud of your own, then you have to purchase the thing, make provision where it will be housed, install software and etcetera, run it, test it, there are issues of maintenance, so and so. Here the upfront, there is very low upfront cost, you pay and use it. Restrictive default service level agreements. So, there is a, now whenever we purchase something, there is a somewhere or other we need to conform to the that standard, or what we say quote unquote restrictive service level agreements between the provider and the consumer. So, most of the cases we need to follow the terms and condition provided the whatever is given by the provider, unless you do for a large scale deployment where you negotiate at a special rate with special SLA and type of things, right. But normally for a small institution, public at large, we need to conform to the whatever is being provided. So, totally other means the other aspects of the from the public is the private. So, you have your own cloud and you have all your resources which can be working on it, right. So, the cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use of a single organization comprising of multiple consumers or business units, like a same organization, say IIT KGP private cloud may catering all the things which is in the IIT department section etcetera, may be owned, managed and operated by the organization, or it can be outsourced by a third party managing your resources out here, but it is in your premises, under your jurisdiction, under your network control and type of things, and it may exist on or off premises also, right. So, that there are usually on premises, or I can say I have a private things, or what we say outsourced private cloud where I can have the off premises, but nevertheless it is jurisdiction or my policy stipulated rules or the organization rules which prevail. So, there are some of the open source and other public cloud. One is that Eucalyptus, pretty popular. There are OpenStack, Ubuntu Enterprise Cloud, Amazon VPC Virtual Private Cloud, VMware Cloud Infrastructure Suite, Microsoft ECI data centers and so forth. So, there are several things which gives private cloud into the thing. So, contrary to popular belief, private cloud may exist off premises and can be managed by third party. So, I not only means take the responsibility, or I basically I will maintain the control over the whole thing, but I basically may off premise or I install the with the help of a third party to a separate thing also, right. Thus, two private cloud scenarios, one is on-site private cloud, which is the de facto, or which is immediately comes to our mind when you are talking about anything which is private, applies to private clouds implemented at the customer's premises. Another is the outsourced private cloud, like I have a private chunk of the things which is outsourced out of my premises, but nevertheless it is private to me, right. So, applies to private cloud where the server side is outsourced to the hosting company wherever it is there. So, in case of on-site private cloud, the security perimeter extends around both the subscriber on-site resources and private cloud resources. So, your security perimeter or your legal control is basically have the encompass the private cloud, right. Security perimeter does not guarantee control over private cloud's resources, but the subscriber can exercise control over the other resources, over the resources, like. So, that it's in case of on-site, like whatever the private cloud it is there, I can have a overall control over the whole resources of the private cloud. So, there are some issues, characteristics, pros and cons of the maintaining on-site private cloud. One is the network dependency, on-site private, right. Subscriber, so it is dependency on the on your internal network should be here. Subscriber still needs a IT skill. My organization is maintaining my own cloud, or the organization maintaining own cloud. So, there should be some sort of a skill to maintain that. Workload location are hidden from the client. Even if my clients are different to my sub units, that also this is hidden from the client, like even if it is within the premises or on-site private cloud, that actual infrastructure is in from the cloud, where client is my own organization things or my own clients on the other side. Risks from multi-tenancy, again the same issues of within things also come into play. Data import export and performance limitation, there can be issues of data import export, because there are a lot of data which will be going out and going down. So, like on demand bulk data import export is limited on site private clouds network capacity, or real time critical processing may be problematic because of network limitation. Potentially strong security from external threats, usually if it is a private within your network boundary, all your network other features come into play, like as I was mentioning in some of my one of my earlier lecture, that IIT Kharagpur has installed or has developed a private cloud for its research purpose, what is Meghamala, but it is within my network premise. So, whatever the network security parameters or features are there for IIT Kharagpur is also applied for this infrastructure. So, what happens that it has a potentially strong security features, significant to high upfront cost to migrate into the cloud. So, that is another issue, right. Whenever you have a private cloud, so there is a significant cost in installing, maintaining, and there is maybe a significant cost in migrating the whole thing into the private cloud, your own side. There is a limited resources, all if you have your thing, that anything you want to augment, you need to purchase, install. Not only that, you need to properly interoperate with the existing things, right. So, in doing so, you have a at times you have a limited resources, like suddenly I can go up or down on the resources. So, as on-site private cloud, any specific time has a fixed computing and storage capacity that can be sized to correspond to the anticipated workloads and costs. So, what we do whenever I install a private cloud, so I have a estimate of the things, like storage, computing, etc., and then keep some provision, like if it is a buying that the stuff at X amount, I install 1.5 amount, but that is the thing that I am limited to that X 1.5 X amount of the thing. So, there is another variant of the things, I keep this as private, but I outsource it. So, that maintaining, installing, etc., I do not means the organization do not take care, but it is outsourced. So, outsourced private cloud has two security perimeters, one implemented by the cloud subscriber, whoever is there on the right, and the implemented by the provider. So, this is a perimeter. So, what is happening? It has a some sort of a channel which connects this to this private cloud, which is outsourced in some other premises, right, or maybe a subset of a cloud service provider, right. So, I have a channel which hooks into the things, but the whole stuff at that end is a private to me, right. So, the security of data and processing conducted on the outsourced private cloud depends on the strength and availability of both security parameters and of the protected communication. So, what we require, that my infrastructure to be secured at the external things, another the channel where by the network channel or the network communication link which I talk over which I communicate, or over which my organization communicate with the cloud, should be secured in a up to a particular level, up to a particular level, expected level. So, there are again some consideration, pros cons of using outsourced private cloud. One is network dependency, that again I am dependent on how things will be connected. Workload location are hidden from the client, again those type of issue. Risk from multi-tenancy, the where I am hosting my private cloud, other people may be hosting also the private cloud. So, data import export and performance limitations, same thing exists. Potentially strong security from external threat, because of you have still have a private things, it is not fully public and not all people are jumping on your cloud, but nevertheless you are maybe sharing some infrastructure, maybe more threat at the much more lower level, at the highest level and so on, but at a higher level you are not allowing anybody to enter into the things. Modest to significant upfront cost to mitigate cloud. So, those are same as whatever we are having at the things, and most of the cases you need to negotiate in terms of the SLA with the provider who is providing your, or the third party who is providing you this cloud. Extensive resource availability is maybe an advantage, because this is not limited. I am taking a chunk, so I request for increase, it is very much possible to increase at the other end, provided the provider is not out of resources. Usually they have lot of resource at their backbone. So, one side is private, one side is public, another typical type of cloud is community cloud, right. So, it basically tries to, as we have discussed, it basically tries to serve a particular community per se. It is usually can operate in a public or private both, and it basically cater to a particular community which has a somewhat same domain of operation or same focus of interoperating, right. So, cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use of a specific community of consumer from organization that are shared concern. That means, they have a like minded concern, that is there can be same mission, security requirement, policy, compliance consideration, etc. It may be owned, managed, operated by one or more organization in the community. So, a third party or some combination of that, it may exist on or off premises. Okay. So, it can be on premises, off premises, there are several community cloud, and which are being provided by different service provider. So, there can be one thing that community, like there are several ABC organization, there are XYZ organization, and they can form different set of combination, like ABC XYZ can be one community, A with XY can be another community, and so on and so forth. So, there is possibility of bringing things together. There is also possibility that a community can be existing at some point of time, at the some other point of time it may not be existing. I may be a organization can be more than one community of the things, like our day to day life. I may be a part of my office group, also I am part of my say residential community, right. So, there can be different policies and etc. things are there, and but it is the primary objective is that there are like or same type of concern or same type of workflow. It may so happen that this community making them in a single community will help in productivity, right. So, there are again lot of characteristics, pros and cons, etc. The participant organization are connected via links between the boundary controllers and allow access through the security parameters, like whatever the firewall policies or that type of boundary policies are there. Access policy of a community cloud may be pretty complex, because you can have number of communities. So, what way access, which you do not access, whether there is a leakage of information, I get some information from one community, pass it to the other community. So, these need to be properly restricted. So, policy specification techniques like role based access control, attribute based access control are there, like based on my role I access some data, right. And like other form of deployment models, here also we have network dependency. Subscriber still need some IT skills, because it need to maintain with different community things. Workload location are hidden from the client again. Data import export performance limitations, there are issues on that, like how between the community things etc., whether the data or within the community when multiple subscriber come into play, that how things will be there, and number of cases these communities can be loosely coupled. So, that things becomes more critical to manage. Potentially strong security from the external things, because still you are in the one community. So, that you have a better resistance to the external threats based on your community policies along with your own policy. High variable upfront cost to migrate to the cloud. So, that is a as we have seen in case of a truly private cloud, there is a high variable upfront cost to the migration to the cloud, because it is not publicly available. So, you need to create the things, and there can be different sort of things, like there are 3 organizations forming a community with some boundary controller, where with a private subscriber, and those issues come into play. Community cloud can be on the premises, or the community cloud can be out of means premises. That means the community cloud can be outsourced, as we have seen that in case of a private cloud. So, once we outsource, the network dependency, workload location are not known or hidden from the clients, risk from multi-tenancy, data import export and performance limitation issues, this will come into play. Potentially strong security from external threats, as we have mentioned, that is still you are on the community. Modest to significant upfront cost, if it is outsourced, a lot of loads are taken up by the outsourcing organization. So, there is a chance that overall loading may be overall upfront cost will be much less than if you are maintaining in premises. And theoretically, if you are outsourcing, extensive resource availability are possible. So, apart from this, as we can theoretically see or practically see, that I can have a cloud which is combination of all those things, right. So, I can have private, public, community things, especially with the public private cloud, I can have a cloud which is combination of such more than one type of deployment models. The cloud infrastructure is a composition of 2 more distinct cloud infrastructure, private, community or public. So, I have 3 type of things, and then I want to realize a cloud which has a combination of these 3 things. Why this is important? First of all, it's all depends that what sort of usage pattern I am having. Like some of the usage pattern what I am having is more critical or more vulnerable to security threats, that I want to keep as a more private, right. I do not want to, I have a appropriate network boundary or network perimeter security to be implemented on the things. There are some of the resources which may not be, I may not want those to be so much secure, or I do not care about all those security of the all those things, and that can be made some of the things public. Like if I say, if there are practice sessions for say computing labs for students, so the level of security is much less than the when I am keeping say student records or students examination things etc., right. So, though same type of operations may be there, but one I could have gone away with and outsourced this and gone to the public cloud to do it, right. And whereas the other one even it is economical, I want to keep those as my private things. Now, I can have a private public combinations, right, and number of cases what sometimes it happens that you do something with the private and you require some resources to be provisioned due to sudden increase of the things. Then suddenly in a private cloud increasing the resource provisioning or purchasing etc., is a long process. So, you purchase the thing on a public cloud for a short period of time, so long your processes are in place and then goes to the things. So, the infrastructure community that remains unique entity, but are bounded together in a standardized or proprietary technology enables data and application to be portable. This is important. So, portability not only with respect to data, whenever I have this private, public, community all together or a combination of 2 or more together, then the issue of interoperability come into play. Like the data which is working fine here, when I take some application from the other, whether we still work at the things. So, the both data and at times the applications, suppose your applications was running on a private cloud with some resources, now you provision a VM which basically goes to the public domain. Now, the type of applications, whether the application wants need to be resized or there are portability issues of the applications need to be looked into. So, there are examples of hybrid cloud, some of the popular Windows Azure capable of hybrid cloud, VMware vCloud, there are capability of hybrid cloud, and as I am mentioning that there are several other providers which helps us in which provide this type of things. So, the hybrid cloud is composed of 2 or more private, public, etc. They have a significant variation in performance, reliability, security property depending upon the type of cloud chosen to build the hybrid, right. If it is a community cloud or public and etc., there will be difference in the performance, difference in the security features, etc. So, a hybrid cloud can be extremely complex, that is one of the major things. Like suppose your a particular application is going on and it need to run over a combination of public and private cloud, then the overall underlining architecture may be very complex. So, that your application runs seamlessly over the things. So, at times these private clouds can be extremely complex. A hybrid cloud may change over time with constituent clouds joining or leaving, that is another big factor. So, what we are saying that it may so happen that you build a hybrid cloud with your own private cloud and 2 other public clouds, right. So, now now it may so change that some of the public cloud may wants to disconnect based on your terms and conditions and your subscription ends, they do not want to again resubscribe and they have a different pricing model, even some of the thing may go red, right, the organization, the cloud may not be there. So, in that case you need to, there can be joining, leaving and joining of new things, or sometimes you may require more resources. So, you add some more public or community cloud into the things. All this becomes extremely complex phenomena to handle, right. So, that means over time the constituent clouds may leave or join and making the whole process pretty complex, right. So, now what should I choose, right, what should be my deployment model is another big question, right. It totally depends on your requirement. Like if I am a small organization or individuals, my public cloud may be a good solution. So long my business is not going upfront on the something which compels me to go to a own private cloud. There are other constraints, like I do business for somebody else, right. I have some other subscriber base or client base. Now, this client may be in turn looking for things, like suppose I have a storage provider, data storage provider. Now, I may either I have all these storages on my premises, or I outsource these resources or provision these resources from other public clouds. Now, it may be so happen that the my clients, which may be something mission critical clients like maybe a financial sector or defense sector, they want that no, it cannot happen, you need to have your own thing. So, it all depends that what should be my way of looking at it, right. I can have a combination, as we are talking about hybrid, I can have a combination of private, public and so forth based on my requirement, or whether I can classify my application into different things, my data, my applications into different categories, and then I say that this bunch can go to the private, this bunch can go to the public, this can go to the community and type of things. So, managing all those things is another big challenge, or for the organization or institution to handle that. So, with this we close this lecture, and we will continue our lecture on other aspects of cloud computing in the subsequent talks. Thank you.